Hey, it's Vaughn. Welcome back to the Spin the Rock podcast. You can listen to us on all audio platforms, and for video, we are on YouTube. Check us out on all social media, whether it be TikTok or Twitter for updates, and thank you for watching.
Hello and welcome to the Spin the Rock podcast. I am your host, Angel, and with me today is
Eugene.
And LeVon James.
LeVon James. That's fire. All right. Summer League is over. It's officially going to be the dry days of basketball where you hear no news or anything for like a solid month and a half. But we do have some things to talk about. Starting off with, we have some news on more rule changes. I think this is like what, the third year in a row where the NBA changed up some rules.
Something like that.
It's crazy. So this one, we'll start off with the one that kind of just makes sense. Coaches will get a second challenge if their first one succeeds. I feel like I didn't even know they didn't have that rule in the first place, to be honest.
Because they have it like the NFL, which I think the NFL should have made this change a while ago, and they still haven't. I'm in favor of this change though, because it's like, if you get because how in the NFL too, like if you challenge and you succeed, like you keep your timeout.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like if you succeed, which the NBA now has implemented, you should be able to keep that challenge until you lose, but that might be, abuse of some sort. I don't know. But I am in favor of this rule.
Yeah, like it just makes sense to do it. My only one worry is we're probably going to get another stoppage of play, which like they've implemented rules in the past to make sure play resumes and less stoppages, especially in clutch time. But the fact that you win one, you get one, but if you miss the first one, you don't get the second one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm all right with that.
Yeah, I feel like it's just something that makes sense. I don't really. I am concerned now. Is this like, how many do you keep getting it back? Like if you challenge 4 times and they all succeed, does that mean you get a 5th challenge? Like that would be interesting to see how many of those you can actually get away with.
I mean, I would assume not, but
yeah, like 2, I think is the cap.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And then the other one is flops are now a tech. This one is just gonna be crazy. I feel like it's gonna be another way for refs to go crazy on. What do you guys think about this one?
It's completely up to the refs to judge if something is a flop or not, and a lot of those flops don't get caught in the game. So I don't know how much it's going to impact a game entirely. I feel like we're going to see some calls where like someone's going to call a flop when something looked completely legal, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could go either way. I'm probably in the negative about this one because it's like there are missed flops that aren't called. There are flops, that might be a real foul, but the ref doesn't think so. You got the power hungry refs, they might call everything a flop. So I don't know. We'll see how this rule change affects the game, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm necessarily a fan of it or not. Plus, most players flop anyway,
Yeah, it's like part of the thing, despite like old heads hating it. But one thing is, my big question mark is for like the fouls that a player will put like an extra oomph on at the end to make it just to sell the foul. Like, are they going to lean more as just calling it as a true foul, or if someone takes it in the chest, square in the chest, and drops down, are they going to like embellish it, mark it as a flop, and then end up getting a T out of that? So I guess we got to just see how this one pans out. I mean, that's how it goes for most of these rules, though, right?
Right.
Yeah. I feel like this one, I feel like every sport has that one rule that like everyone forgets exists, and I think this might be the basketball version of it. Because like I have a strong feeling that it's just gonna be like, oh shit, I forgot there's a flop tech now. Like
Mhm.
like it's just
Right.
gonna be one of those. Because I feel like no ref is. I don't think a single ref is gonna consistently call it. It's just gonna be something that's so inconsistent that it's like you just kind of forget that it exists.
Mhm.
Also, is this going to be something they're going to have to stop and review every single time? Because if it
Yeah,
is,
another
it's
thing for a coach to challenge.
yeah.
That
Right.
wasn't
No,
a
yeah.
flop.
Because that, I guess, yeah, now that y'all bring that up, it's like both of these rule changes could slow down the game like a crazy amount, you know?
Mhm.
Like you just mentioned, Angel. So like a player gets fouled, the ref calls a flop. Technically, it's supposed to be a tech now. So then it's like, wait, hold up, like that wasn't a flop. I'm gonna challenge that. So that could slow the game down a lot and a lot more. But I don't know. We'll see how they go.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see for sure. It's kind of like the take foul rule they did last year, where it's like I kind of forgot that was a rule for most of the season.
Mm,
So it's like I'm hoping it's like that, where it's like it's not too obvious, but at the same time, at least they're trying to combat flops. They're kind of I feel like they're late personally. I feel like we're kind of out of that era of flopping. I feel like it was a bigger deal when I was in high school, and now it's kind of like I don't really see it that much anymore.
it's
It's
definitely not the trend that it used to be.
it's kind of like if a it's kind of like a move almost. Like is it in that person's bag? Like Kyle Lowry, Marcus Smart, those are the guys doing it. But you probably won't see like someone like LaMelo Ball or any of the new guys do it quite as much. But yeah,
Hmm.
I see where it's moving. I think when you mentioned the take foul, I think that happened more so in the beginning of the year as players were adjusting to it.
Hmm.
So if we're gonna see lots of text for these flops, it's probably gonna be in the beginning of the year. So like the officials set the precedent for the rest of the remaining season.
Yeah,
At least I hope so. I hope we don't see this consistently all throughout 2023, 2024.
yeah. All right. Next piece of news. I'm gonna switch these. I have them opposite in the chat. Bobo, a Phoenix Sun. I really didn't expect the Magic to get rid of him. What do you guys think about this move? Are you excited for Bobo? Are you not excited?
This was not the team to be on for Bol Bol. Like, if he wanted to grow, he had a shot in on the Magic, and now he's on like a true contender who's behind three scorers. Plus, DeAndre Ayton always gets his down low. So, like, this is not like the spot where he's gonna have his breakout year.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if he wants to prove anything, it would probably just be, um, how good he is off the bench and his defensive like play. Um, but Vaughn basically at every point. He's not going to do a whole lot on the offensive end. At least when one at least one of the five guys is on the floor, star players. Um, but yeah, I think it's just a whatever move.
Hmm. Yeah, I kind of also agree. I'm more confused on why the Magic let him go because didn't they waive him?
I
I
think
think
so.
so.
I think it came down to his defense. Like he could get blocks. He has the length to do it. But
Hmm.
from what I've seen on the defensive end, at least, he jumps on everything, every pump fake, every hezzy. Like he is like so easy to like dribble around.
Hmm.
That's just his biggest weakness for a guy who's a 7 footer. Like we've all seen he can shoot. He can even dribble. Probably like had he been more developed in college. I know people say like the Victor Wembanyama comparisons, but like their skill sets are very different. And although Victor is coming in as a rookie. He probably knows what he should be doing more than Bull. Because Bull, he just tries to do too much, probably to prove himself. And I get that, but that opportunity is like so minimal on the team he chose. But he was a Kevin Durant fan, so he just probably wants to play among one of his like favorite players.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I'm just kind of confused all around. I don't. It's also confusing for the Suns to get him because you're right. Like, are they actually going to use him? They're kind of picking up a lot of players right now, and I get it. They have no depth, but like at the same time, it's like I wonder what they're trying to. I wonder what the team's going to look like in the regular season for sure. All right, moving on. Last piece of news. You know, I love international competition. I watched both the baseball classic and the World Cup. And starting in August the 25th, it's basketball's turn. The FIBA World Cup, I think is what it's called, starts 25th. I have the roster right here, so I'm just gonna list them off, and then you guys can let me know if you're excited for the competition or just it what you think of it in general. So we got Paolo Banchero, Mikal Bridges, Jalen Brunson, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram, Jaren Jackson Jr., Cam Johnson, Walker Kessler, Bobby Portis, and Austin Reeves. And I think that's just the base. I don't think they released the extended roster for US yet. Yeah, I can't find it anywhere. But first, let's start off with first. Are you excited for FIBA? Are you going to be watching? Like, what are you guys' thoughts on the FIBA World Cup?
Am I excited? No. Am I gonna watch it? Yes. What do I think about this team? Mid. Like, it's not. We've had way better FIBA teams in the past, you know. Now, given a lot of these players aren't, you know, the stars of the league that we're used to seeing in FIBA and the Olympics, but it is nice to see that we're kind of going along a younger route of players, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Rather than just like picking our best players to go play for the country, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not like particularly excited, but I will watch to see, you know, how we go against the world.
Is this? It's not a yearly tournament though, is it? It happens like every couple of years or something.
I think it's every 4. I believe
Yeah,
it's
I
every
think
4.
it's like exactly like FIFA.
Yeah, like I remember the last team was Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, Damian Lillard, and now we got this.
Right.
And we're lucky Jokic isn't playing because he might have gone for that championship in the NBA and FIBA. It's full of young, hungry guys, I get, but I feel like next team is gonna have to be the redeem team for this team.
Yeah, because Greece and what's the Luka's team? They're both playing. Like Giannis is playing up for Greece. Luka is playing for his country. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it. Slovenia or something like that.
Yeah.
So like these smaller countries got their guys, and we could even get at least one of our big names.
Right.
It's kind of insane. We have like 2 rookies on there.
I still
almost
again,
3 if you count Austin Reeves as a even though he's a sophomore.
I'm not necessarily a Paolo hater, but it's like, why is he on there? You know what I'm saying? And then Cade Cunningham as well, coming off of, you know, his year-long injury, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It could be better.
Yeah.
Especially considering France and Spain are usually really good teams, and then Canada, you got SGA, Jamal Murray, among many others.
Canada got a solid team, bro.
They got hoopers.
Yeah, I'll probably watch highlights, but I don't know the last time I caught a full FIBA game.
Yeah, I also can't remember the last time I watched a full FIBA game. I'm just like I like international competition. So like I'm even watching the Women's World Cup right now. And like I'm just a sucker for it. That's why I'm so like I'm just gonna watch it. Why not? But at the same time, I'm not. Am I gonna be like, man, my day's ruined. U.S. didn't make it out of the group stage. No,
No, not
but
one bit.
but like it's gonna be fun. Like why not? Why not just tune in, have something to kill the time until the NBA season is back?
Exactly.
Mhm.
But
We've
yeah,
been really lucky as NBA fans that if you're the greatest player, you're probably playing in the NBA, no matter where you are in the world. As
true.
opposed to other leagues of other sports, you're probably in one league or this league. You could be in a Canadian league. You could be, EuroLeague's got differences, and so we've already kind of seen like the best. I want to say best version of basketball in the NBA season. But, it's still exciting within its own right to see, you know, obviously competing for your country and all that.
Yeah. All right. Now moving on to the meat of the show. Hot Seat is once again back. It's going to be a mainstay for this offseason. And today's hot seat topic does tie into our main topic, which is will we ever see a prospect live up to their hype like LeBron did? LeBron so far is the only prospect to even pass his hype, let's be honest. Will we ever see that again, or do you think that day is gone?
I don't know what pick he was, but like a top pick and actually
I think he was
play
number
like
one.
that.
LeBron was number one.
Was he?
Mhm.
Yeah. He's also the only number one pick in the past 25 years to win a chip, I think is like the stat.
Okay, to answer your question, will we, as in me, Angel, and Vaughn? No.
Yeah.
But I think it will happen. I just don't think that player is born yet.
Oh, I was wrong, by the way. It was finals MVP, the first only number one pick in the past 25 years to win a finals MVP.
That's so wild, though. That's actually an insane stat.
So long as like ESPN keeps hyping up every first round draft pick, it's never going to happen. Like, I forgot which analyst said Victor Wembanyama was a disappointment if he was as good as Hakeem Olajuwon. Like, one of the best centers to ever do it. It was pretty insane.
That is insane.
No one should really believe hype until like you're seeing it actually in front of you. Like Victor's actually playing games. He's actually bringing his team to the playoffs. He's winning on a high level. But even then, you can be an impressive player on like a dog shit team. Like we've seen Luca last year, his team completely sink, but he was like a complete beast. I guess I just have to agree with Eugene. We probably won't see it, a prospect meet the hype or even surpass it in a LeBron type vein. But in this long history ahead of us of the sport, there has to be one that does that eventually.
History always repeats itself.
True. Yeah, I'm also gonna agree with you guys. I feel like to live up to it is already hard. To surpass it is even harder. And I feel like Wemby, I'm not gonna be a Wemby hater. I feel like he can be a good player, but is he gonna live up to the hype? I highly doubt it. They're putting so much pressure onto this man.
Mhm.
Like, I think he's like a 90 something in 2K. Mans hasn't even seen the
That's
floor.
crazy.
Like, Mans played 2 NBA games and it's a 90 something in 2K. So I just feel like we've had so many number one picks, Anthony Bennett, Zion Williamson, like people who are like, this is the next big thing, and either just not live up to it or just straight up not even even get close.
Mhm.
So I feel like it's if I see it happen, I'm gonna be shocked, to be honest. But like,
Yeah, no, in our lifetime, it's like I'm not gonna say there's no way, but like it doesn't seem possible.
yeah. All right, that was our hot seat. We kind of all agreed, but it was kind of like easy to agree on that.
Before we move away from that, though, just real quick, since we're on number one draft overall, or the first overall draft pick, what are your expectations for Victor Wembanyama? Because I feel like a successful season for him would be averaging 18 points, 8 blocks, or 8 rebounds and a block and a half a game. Like I would consider that a success.
I feel like that's super realistic. I feel like everyone else's expectations is like Spurs playoffs, like 20 points, just go insane. I also feel like 15 points, a couple blocks, I think at least above 10 rebounds is like,
I feel like that's a given almost. Like I understand he's like a twig, he's a big ass tree like branch, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like 10 rebounds is doable. He's one of the tallest players in the NBA.
Hey,
ever.
There's a lot of centers in the NBA who can't get 10 rebounds.
Okay, but he's like 7'35", bro. Like
I don't. Hey,
I feel like 10 is a given for this man. If he does not end, that might have to go on the board, bro. Victor ends the season with 10 plus rebounds. Because if he doesn't, then like I feel like it's gonna look bad.
I feel like that's not board worthy. Because like he should get 10 plus rebounds.
I think his competition would be his own teammate in Jeremy Sohan, because he's really out there to grab rebounds,
Right.
So unless like he takes a step back to let Victor get some, like they're probably going to be fighting for the same rebound.
Yeah, I'm not
10 is a given. I feel like it's a given. It should be.
Oh, I'm also saying that's what I'm saying. Like 10 plus, like as long as he gets 10 plus and like 15 points, like boom, that's a successful season for him.
Right.
Is it living up to everyone else's expectations? No,
Probably not.
no, because people are to the moon with this man. But for me, I feel like it wouldn't be a bust because let's be honest, we've seen a lot of pretty bad number one picks.
Right. Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm probably expecting like 20 and 10. 20 only because like I already know Popovich is coming up with a system, around him, to try and like feed him the ball to get and score. And he is a pretty good passer, so I would say maybe like 3 to 5 assists, along with like a block and a half. But I might be a little far out there.
What would be living up to the hype? What stat line would be, oh, he lived up to the hype?
Like 30 and 20.
Oh my god. I feel like that's passing the hype.
Surpassing.
That's an MVP season right there.
Yeah, wax.
It would probably be like a 20 and 12, and then 2 blocks a game, which would be like a defensive level of the defensive player of the year type level amount of blocks, but that's what people are like judging him as. Like it's, I don't know when the expectations got this high and how it got like so skewed for him to be like the best ever to do it,
It's when he busted open Rudy, bro.
That's probably true, bro. Because I've always heard about Victor. Like he's been being hyped up for a while, but at one point he all of a sudden became the like next big thing, and it kind of just happened out of nowhere. So yeah, that is a good question. I really do want to like, if I could go back in time and see when that happened, I would. Because now it's like, it's been almost like a whole year now that he's been that guy. All right, yeah. So it's a prospects episode. We already talked about the first pick. He only played 2 games in the summer league. One was bad, one was really good. So I guess they just wanted him to have a good game, and then they pulled him immediately. Do you see Vic? Okay, first we're gonna talk about the first 3 top picks, and then we have a first round and a second round each. So we're gonna start with the top 3. Keep on going with Victor. Do you see him playing any more games in this offseason? Or do you think like we're not gonna see him until like the regular season?
Like preseason.
Like
we
or
think-
even like Drew League, like Paolo and Chet was doing last year? Or do you
No,
think he's like
After what Chet did last season, breaking his foot, the Spurs have shut him down. Like he's not playing basketball. I think he'd play preseason just because most NBA players do. Might not be for heavy minutes, but it's just to get into the swing of things. So we'll probably see another glimpse of him there. But I don't think he'd come in full swinging until the regular season actually starts.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll probably like practice without the team, outside of that a little bit, but playing a actual officiated game, probably not.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
the Spurs seemed pretty adamant about that too, like sitting him or whatever. So
Yeah. Yeah, I also think like I agree with you guys. I feel like even if it wasn't for Chet, he would still not be playing. Like the Spurs are probably having this man contained in bubble wrap right now. Like they do not want anything to happen to him. I'm pretty sure they didn't even want him to play a second game. I think if it wasn't for that first bad game, I don't think we would have seen more of him.
low key, like if he had that second game, that first game, he probably would have been shut down after that.
Cause yeah, especially with that. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, enough about Victor, number 1 pick. We'll go to the second pick, Brandon Miller. What do you guys think of him so far?
I mean, I haven't watched too much of him. The only game I watched was that Wemby game, and he was also terrible. So I don't have too many thoughts on him. He also fouled out his first 2 well, not officially, but like he reached and went over the regulation foul limit his first 2 summer league games. So hopefully he gets in check about that. But yeah, I don't have too many thoughts on Brandon Miller.
Just based from what I've seen, he's a perfect fit for the Hornets in that he has no defense. So, I mean, he can score. He had his moments in summer league, but this is the one that has the greatest bust potential, I think, because we've discussed he's number 2 over Scoot Henderson. They drafted for fit, and it might come back to bite them.
Yeah.
Warriors drafted for fit years ago with James Wiseman over LaMelo Ball, and Wiseman ain't even on the team no more. And LaMelo, he's been an all-star at least once, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So
Mostly, I mean, granted it was because of injuries, but like he was still an all-star.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like it's people were already mad at the Hornets. Like Hornets fans are already mad about Brandon Miller. And then he's just had a really I don't want to say disappointing summer league because I don't feel like there's no such thing. You could still be good in the regular season. But it's very troubling. Like if I'm a Hornets fan, I'm thinking like, oh God, no, not again. Like, just because they do this every time and they always like none of their draft picks besides LaMelo Ball has even come close to living up to the hype or even came close to being like an efficient role player. So, but yeah, I agree with what Vaughn said. I think he has the most potential to be a bust because people are already being like, what are you doing picking him over Scoot? So I feel like he has a lot more bust potential than the other 2 because let's be honest, Wemby can be a bust just by dropping 10 points a game. Like people will call him a bust because of that. Whereas Brandon Miller can actually play like a bust, you know, can
Yeah.
actually average bust stats.
Like the issue with like Wemby's bad game is he wasn't really aggressive enough, and he kind of felt lost at times. But then second game he recouped. Brandon Miller, getting enough fouls to foul out and turning over the ball way too many times. So it's kind of like you worry about him having the ball in his hands. Luckily, he has LaMelo Ball there in the regular season to play off of, so he could find some success still. But I think he has a pretty hard position as well.
Mm-hmm. All right, and the guy who probably can do is pretty much in a pretty good situation. Scoot, the number 3 pick for the Blazers. What do you guys think about him? How do you think he did in the summer league?
I mean, he only played one game.
Hmm.
He did pretty good. He got like 15 or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if you know anything about him, for the viewers, he's just a good all-around player. He'll be a good fit once Dame leaves. With the Blazers, him and Shaden, they'll probably go crazy. But yeah, I mean, he can score, he can rebound, he can pass, he can do all the dirty work. He's just a good player overall. So I think the Blazers got something special, relatively, given they're on the rebuild. But
I mean, he was playing against grown men. He skipped college to be in the G League
Yeah.
Ignite team, I think. So he's probably most prepped to play in the NBA among most of the prospects. And then he's just a great finisher around the rim, like kind of like a Russell Westbrook type hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
I worry. I guess if I had one flag, it'd be like his 3-point shooting, but it didn't look like he has terrible form or nothing. It's just he probably needs to get reps. And then, like, of course, a great passer, on-ball defender as well. Like he's not getting bullied around. So I mean, he's an exciting prospect for a reason, and it's in probably the best environment for success on the Trailblazers as opposed to if he had gotten drafted to the Hornets. So
Yeah.
it'll be exciting for sure.
Yeah, I also agree. Really excited for the Blazers. I mean, they got so lucky. 3rd pick and they got Scoot. Like that's a really good pickup for them, especially now that Dame is gonna be out of there. Like he's gonna get super solid playing time. Definitely the one with the most potential, as in like he doesn't have a lot of pressure on him as much as Wemby does or Brandon Miller, because Wemby has like everyone. Brandon Miller has Hornets fans gonna constantly pick on him, while Scoot, I feel like he's kind of like Blazers are like just happy to have him and like to fill up that hole that Dame's gonna be living. So he's my pick for rookie of the year. I know some people are saying Chet and some people are going to say Victor, but like I think Scoot, I've said it multiple times by now, would have been a number 1 pick any other year. So like I just think he's a super solid player. It is going to be exciting to see how the Blazers play because they have hella young guys now.
mm-hmm.
So it is going to be exciting to see how they mesh. Will they be more like a Rockets Pistons or will they be more like, the Grizzlies when they first had Ja and stuff like that? Like what kind of team will they be? Those are the top 3 picks. Victor, Brandon Miller, Scoot. We each have a prospect that we are excited for. We're gonna start off with our first round prospect. Who wants to start?
I'm gonna go. This is our first round, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'll go because I'm afraid someone's gonna take him. Amen Thompson to the Rockets at pick 4. Had
He's my backup. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. Let's see. All right. Had Van Vliet not been, had that massive contract to be their primary point guard, Amen Thompson probably would have had a rookie of the year campaign.
Mhm.
But like he's a great fit for that team. They needed passing. He brings that. He's a scorer. Considering like what they need smart scoring. I think Amen Thompson also brings that, as well as a great defender. Like he's got length. Like in summer league, he was getting steals and blocks. So just excellent pick for
Mhm.
that team. And they're the whole team is prepped to have a much more successful season than last year.
Oh,
And
for
Amen
sure.
Thompson can be a big part of that. So at least they could be watchable this year.
I mean, yeah, it's almost like NBA bingo because people are once again saying the Rockets are an exciting team. It's like every year they say
Mhm.
that. We'll see if this year it's actually true. If they're gonna be fun to watch.
Okay, so for my first round pick, it's one of his teammates actually. I picked Cam Whitmore. A lot of people were saying he might be one of the steals of the draft. He played all 6 games. I think they play 6 games, right?
Mhm.
And he averaged let me see. He averaged 19, 5, and 2 through those 6 games. So he shoots very well. He's able to pass. He probably won't need to though. I picture him as more of a, or how he'll be used, as like a spot up shooter. Kind of like a Klay Thompson almost. Obviously not that high of a clip, but just running around screens and whatnot, spotting up
Mhm.
and shooting the ball. Yeah, I think he's a really good player. I only caught like one game that he played in, and he dropped like 30. He went crazy. But yeah, that's my first round pick.
The thing about both those guys is they're both crazy athletic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So who do you think will catch more posters this year? Thompson or Whitmore?
I want to say Whitmore only because he seems to be a little bit more aggressive. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like Thompson, both of them are kind of like passive. Like if they get a poster, they're not looking for it. It just happens. But I feel
Mhm.
like with Cam, like he kind of like, yeah, like if you under that rim, I'm gonna catch
Yeah.
you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, those are both really good picks. Do you guys think the way the Rockets look now, do you think it will hurt their development at all? Because last year, now that they have actual Dylan Brooks, Fred, they also still have all their other big rookie prospects from the past few years. Do you think Amon and Cam are gonna have a slow down development, or do you think they're still gonna, develop pretty fairly?
Well, I just like the Rockets as a whole probably will develop slower as far as the young guys go. Uh, but maybe on the defensive end, they might have an identity going
Hmm.
forward with the new coach. And Fred has in the past been a good defender, even though last year was kind of a down year in that regard. And then Dylan Brooks is still known as that. So hopefully they like pass the knowledge around the young guys.
Mm.
As far as the offensive end, I think it would have been more exciting had Van Vliet and Brooks not been there. I would have, because Amen Thompson probably would have filled that point guard spot, even though he's a little taller. And then that would just he'd share the rock among the other guys who are primarily scorers, whether it be Şengün, Porter Jr., Jalen Green, and of course Jabari Smith Jr. And now it's kind of like all the young guys are gonna be fighting with the minutes. Even when they traded Washington Jr., Kenyon Martin Jr., probably someone else, but I don't envy Adoka trying to manage those minutes,
Hmm.
especially when you want them to build moving forward. Um,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I do think it is a negative for that for their development.
Yeah.
Whether it's a positive or negative, I don't know, but I think it'll just come down to coaching and player development. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
obviously they have a really good coach in Ime. But we've never seen him coach a young team like this young. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how just like the whole team develops in general. But especially the rookies to see if they're even in the rotation, which they probably will. And like how they're used and like how they come off the bench and whatnot. But yeah, I don't know if it'll be a positive or a negative, to be honest.
Yeah, because as young as Amon and Cam are, it's still like second, third years, like maybe at most a fourth and a fifth. So it's like it's gonna be very interesting to see how he handles like getting all these young players touches so that they can actually benefit from it. At the same time, it's like I feel like at this point, it's actually for me going to be exciting to see who steps up to the plate because I feel like it also falls on the players. Like now there's competition on the team. Like now, like Jalen Green can lose his spot because there's players who can easily pick it up. I'm not saying he will, but like I feel like now there might be that inner competition, which is good for young teams like that.
Right. Could be good, could be bad.
Yeah. All right. My first round, I went with the other twin. I went Asar Thompson for the Pistons. He also did really good. I mean, both Thompsons popped off. And I know
they're really good players.
Yeah, and I know there was some flack because they played in overtime elite instead of going to college. But at the same time, they have talent. It's not like they were playing in like LA Fitness, like they were getting their reps in, their touches. I mean, Asar, 13 points per game, 46% from the field, had like 2 steals and a block. And then he had some games where he had like insane and not insane, but a pretty solid stat line where he had 18 points, 50% from the field, 40% from the 3, 14 rebounds. Like I feel like he's gonna do well on the Pistons. Like the Pistons are kind of like the Rockets, but more in the sense of I feel like they still need to find that last prospect for them. Killian Hayes isn't really working out as much. Like the other one, like Cade. I feel like right now it's Cade Cunningham and what's his name? Jaden Ivey. Like I feel like those two are the only prospects who are actually doing well on the Pistons. And so I feel like Asar Thompson will only just add to the Pistons. I feel like he can definitely learn from Cade mostly because he's been in the league the longest out of all of the young guys on the team, and he's been the most successful one on the Pistons so far. So I think Asar Thompson is my first round pick. I'm excited to see what he does on the Pistons.
Yeah, I didn't catch too much of him in summer league, but like he looked like an even better defensive minded player than like his brother, who's also really good defensively. So whether or not the Pistons are better than last year, at least his presence on the defensive end will greatly benefit them. But plus, he's like his brother, good scorer, good passer. So
yeah,
I don't think I'll watch any Pistons game this year, but he'll probably be a bright spot for the fans.
For sure. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how he works out on that team, especially they're also a super young team, except they didn't get any vets to like during this off season. So like there's still a lot of work to be done on the Pistons for sure. Especially now that they have Wiseman, it's going to be interesting to see how they move going forward with Asar now.
They're the Orlando Magic, but with bigs instead. They got Bagley, Wiseman, Isaiah Stewart, and Jalen Duren, all on pretty long-term contracts.
Oh yeah. Also look at the names they get: Drummond, Blake Griffin. They love their bigs. All right. Any honorable mentions? Some guys that you were like, I want to talk about him, but I don't know if I should.
I'll briefly mention two. Jarris Walker, pick 8 for the Pacers.
Hmm.
Man's a bull. He's a good size, strong, do it all type of player. He can pass. He can shoot. Well, the shooting is a little iffy, at least from summer league. But like, he can defend. I think the Pacers could make a push for play-in, and Jarris Walker will be a big part of that. Obviously, Mathurin, Halliburton, the bigs and all, but I think the Pacers are a team to watch out for now with the addition of Jarris Walker. And then I'll mention Grady Dick at pick 13 for the Raptors. Raptors fans seem to love him. Like he looked pretty all right in summer league, but he's a confident scorer, 16 points in summer league. His 3-point also needs some work, but when are the Raptors just gonna break it all down for rebuild? Let
Yeah.
Scotty Barnes run the show. Then you can get guys like Grady Dick and develop them further, but they're still hanging on to Siakam, Anunoby, and for some reason they made that trade last year for Poeltl.
Yeah,
So
so odd.
we'll see how he develops on a team that kind of doesn't know what they're doing yet.
No, yeah, I think he'll be good for that team eventually. Will he have a good rookie season? It's hit or miss, you know. But I like the way he plays, but we'll see how the Raptors implement him. I guess my only other person, it would probably be pick number 18, Jaime Jaquez.
Damn it,
I've
that
been
was
watching-
mine.
Was it?
Yeah.
I've been watching him for like I think it's been like 2 years now. First when UCLA made the March Madness with Johnny Juzang, who's now on the Jazz. That team went crazy, and then he led. I forgot how far they went this year, but they went pretty far as well. He led UCLA. And then I was excited to see him get drafted, especially so high, because I didn't think he was going to get drafted at pick 18. But yeah, I saw his first game. I think he had first game jitters because he started with like 3 fouls, but then he ended up with like 20 points. So he's looking like a really good player for the Heat, and especially if they get rid of Tyler Hero and or Duncan Robinson, I think he could be that,
Replacement.
right for them.
Yeah, and he's a scrappy player too. The way he plays, like
Mhm.
he fights for like his points, and like he's not afraid to do dirty work. So
Right.
that's gonna that he just fits so well with the Heat. That's like another reason why I was gonna pick him, is because of all of what Eugene said, and the fact that like out of all the players that Heat could have drafted, he made the most sense because he plays exactly like the way they want their players to play. Like he gives in like all the effort. He does the dirty work. Like he wants to win. So like I'm excited to see how he does on that team, especially because if they get rid of a lot of players, he's definitely gonna get starting minutes or at
Right.
least solid bench. Because like if the trade goes through, it's just who else would they use at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was also mine. I like the way he plays as well. All right. Moving on. Second round picks. This is where you guys want to pay attention. Last year we kind of killed it. So our second round picks did well. This year, can we repeat? Can we look like prophets again? Do we have the inside knowledge? Who wants to kick us off with the second round?
You got it, Vaughn.
Okay. So mine's kind of I'm cheating a little bit here because mine's a 1-2 punch combo. It's the Denver Nuggets picks, both second rounders, Jalen Pickett and Hunter Tyson. Now in summer league, they put up good numbers as far as points go, but obviously they're not looking for the next volume scorer. They're looking for rotational pieces, and I think both of them fit that quite well. Last year is Christian Brown's time, step up, and he was playing minutes, like valuable minutes in the finals. And these guys could be doing the same thing, especially after losing Jeff Green, they lost a few players. I can't remember, but these guys will probably fill those roles quite well. You got Jalen Pickett, good shooter, 23-year-old, so not too young where Mike Malone won't just not consider him. You don't like playing them young guys. So he'll probably fit in as a rotational piece. And Hunter Tyson, probably a better scorer, which will be needed as far as, if Michael Porter Jr. or Jamal Murray goes down with an injury,
Mhm.
whether 2 weeks or months at a time. I think he could actually fill that role for a brief amount of time. So yeah, those are my two guys.
Yeah, I mean, I always want to get hyped for our picks, but I'm always so scared because like it's always a coin flip with our draft picks. Like we used Bol for a little bit, then we stopped using him, and then same thing with Bones. We used him on and off, and then out of nowhere, Christian Braun started getting solid minutes. Just like randomly in the season, I started seeing more of him, and I'm like, this is so odd. While the other two draft picks mostly stayed in the G League, so I'm really curious to see which one of these two, if either of these two get used, especially because we traded up. It was the Pacers pick for Pickett, and like the Nuggets traded up for him. So like we obviously wanted that pick for a reason. So I'm excited to see if we actually use Pickett. I don't really know. But at the same time, it's just exciting that the Nuggets even have draft picks at all. Like I'm just waiting to see what we're gonna do with them.
Honestly, they might be forced to use them, just considering Jeff Green left, Bruce Brown
Bruce
left,
Brown.
and then Thomas
Um
Bryant also left, I
yeah.
think. So that's three rotational players gone. So maybe they only play 5 minutes a game, or maybe they have a Christian Brown situation where they like work themselves in the rotation. So I kind of cheated because I'm like, maybe both of them don't make that, but one of them very well could.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting if you're a Denver fan because for once you might actually see solid rookie time.
Is it my turn?
If you want, I can go.
Okay. So I do have I have two, but I'll save it for like an honorable mention. But my second pick probably goes to Leonard Miller on the Timberwolves. He's a good player. He averaged what 15 4 oh no wait 15 8 15 and 8 in 5 games of the summer league. I just don't know how the Timberwolves would use him unless because they got rid of Jaden McDaniels. So unless he plays like rotational minutes like he did, but he's a 6'10", like he's just a weird player. 6'10" forward, but he can ball handle pretty well. He shoots in the summer league. He shot pretty well for as tall as he is. He's very aggressive, gritty. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. He's just a good player. I think he might be another steal of the draft, depending on if the Wolves use him.
Mhm.
But yeah,
I feel like that's another prospect who like can be used either a solid amount or none at all.
yeah. It was like the other guy as well. I'll just say he signed a 2-way contract, but it's kind of like I was stuck in the position of like who might get used more.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I went with Leonard Miller because he genuinely is a good player, but yeah, I have no idea.
What
Well,
position did you say? What position he played?
He's a forward, but I don't know what they were using him as.
Gotcha.
they waived Torian Prince, and he was getting minutes on that team. So my only like guess as to why they do that is because they want to play Leonard Miller. unless they got a
Oh.
different prospect. They're looking to give minutes, or maybe even give Jaden McDaniels more minutes,
Mm.
or even Nas Reed. They want someone getting more minutes if they're getting rid of Torian Prince, because I didn't love Torian Prince on that team, but he did become a big piece of their rotation, especially for the play-in.
Yeah. Yeah, very interesting that they got another big too.
Yeah.
Like they have so many bigs on that team. I mean, their three big contracts are all bigs as well.
Hmm.
So it's like it's very interesting to see what they'll use him as. Mine is kind of a cop out. I'm not gonna lie. I chose Imani Bates. I don't even know if I said that right. The only reason why he fell was because of off court issues. I don't want to say too much because I don't really know anything about it, to be honest. Like I'm not gonna front and act like I know why. I just know that off court issues is like the main reason why he fell down so far. But like 50th pick in the draft, and then the Cavs win the summer league. Mans is like one of the main reasons why they did win as well. He was a solid player. He has I think he played 6 games as well, and he had 17 points, um, 6 rebounds, and only 1 assist. I didn't even see that. I think his big concern though, which is also kind of concerning for me because he's inefficient. He's kind of not an efficient scorer, and like lately with these young guys, they keep their inefficiency. Like Jalen
Yeah.
Green, inefficient. Like, like it seems like a lot of younger guys, when they're inefficient, they don't pick up and like learn how to get their points well or learn to see what's their spots. It kind of seems like they just keep going and keep either bricking or just keep going to a move where like it works, but then the other team catches on and slowly shuts them down again. So I'm hoping on the Cavs because they have a lot of. I don't think he's gonna get that many minutes. So because of that, I'm hoping he can learn to make himself useful to the team and get rid of that inefficiency. I can kind of see him being like the go-to scorer, kind of like, okay, we need a point, give it to Imani Bates, he'll get us a bucket kind of thing. But at the same time, I feel like if he stays inefficient, I feel like he'll slowly fade out because like on a team like a Cavs, they're so solid that if you don't prove that they need you, they won't use you.
Right. Like he's expendable.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because he was actually my backup. Because I know a lot more about him.
Mhm.
But yeah, just to I guess piggyback off the last thing you said, I see him if he gets to that point, being like their Austin Reeves. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Um, but it is just that inefficiency because he was shooting like 30% or something.
Not that bad. I
Not
think
that bad.
I think it was like low 40s. Hold on, I have it right here. 43%, 6 for 13.
Okay, I just saw double digit attempts, so I was like, "Yo, that's
Oh
that's pretty
no.
bad."
Like, and that's what I'm saying is like he has that new young guy tendency because it's like a newer thing lately where
Mhm,
they'll keep shooting even
mhm,
when they're like cold, cold, cold. Like even when they're ice
Yeah.
cold, they'll keep shooting, and he also has that trait, and that's
right.
like a big concern is because like he's not like kind of inefficient. He's 43% from the field, 6 for 13 is not something a team like the Cavs would probably need or want at all.
Mhm. Like, there's a difference between inefficient and not throwing up so many shots, and
Mm,
inefficient and throwing up crazy amount of shots.
yeah,
So I think if he was inefficient with a small amount of shots, then they would they
build
could
him
work
up.
with it more.
Yeah,
Yeah, but but that also goes with, is he allowed to shoot that much? Like, does he have the green light from whoever the
true.
summer league coach was? So
Yeah,
it's like a whole plethora of things that it could be.
yeah.
But I do agree with you in terms of um, whether he performs or not, they will keep him.
Hmm.
I feel like there's only like a few teams out there that could be a worse landing spot for him because Garland and Mitchell are already pretty short for their positions, and then Amani Bates is pretty thin as a
Oh
guard,
yeah.
So he'd probably get bullied around if he's trying to be out there defending, which not great and kind of redundant in their scheme,
Hmm.
especially if he's a volume scorer. At least with Jalen Green or Cole Anthony, they're already on teams that, it doesn't matter if they win or lose necessarily.
Yeah.
Like those guys, they keep shooting and they keep missing, and the coach will probably keep telling them to keep shooting because they need to work out issues. But the
Yeah.
Cavs are really competing right now. So if Imani Bates is shooting and he's missing, they're going to tell him to stop shooting or else he's getting
Mhm.
subbed out. You got to find different ways to impact the game.
Yeah.
So I honestly I expect him to get traded. Maybe not this season. Maybe sometime next season or in the off season, because like the Cavs just need more shooters and more
Hmm.
defense, especially on the
Yeah.
wing position. So if Imani Bates could be like someone's off the bench scorer,
Yeah.
they might look to them for a trade, especially if he was drafted 50th in the second
Yeah.
round.
He was drafted 50th.
Yeah,
And
so I don't imagine the asking price would be huge for him, but
yeah.
I still think if he's getting traded to a younger team, he does have value for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah. And it's also like he has a solid 3-point game. I think he was shooting like like around 40 as well for his 3-point percentage. So like I feel like if he's willing to work, like if he gets that 3-point shot up, then I can see him staying on the Cavs. But the most realistic possibility is either he gets sent down to the G League or he just rides the bench the entire season. I don't really see him, or he gets scrub time minutes, or they're up by 20 with 3 minutes to go. Like I don't really see him getting very solid minutes, and it kind of sucks because he kind of has that like 2000s type of playing movement. Like Vaughn said, he's short and thin, which is kind of like it reminds me of like that early like weird era where that was a lot of like guards builds, like
Mhm.
short and thin. And so
Mhm.
like I'm excited to see if he'll get any playing time at all, whether it's G League or just scrub time, or if he'll just kind of be trade father and just kind of like, okay, we want this guy, we'll throw in some picks and Imani Bates. So
Yeah.
I hope he gets some playing time because he was solid in the summer league, and he only fell because of perception more than
Mhm.
skill. So it's like I wonder what's gonna happen with him. He's a very interesting pick for sure.
Yeah, I would like to see him succeed.
Yeah. All right. Any honorable mentions for second round picks?
You took
Yeah.
mine.
I got someone who's like the opposite of Bates. Jordan Walsh for the Celtics.
Mm,
He's like tall, he's strong. He's probably going to take up Grant Williams' minutes. So he's basically got a certified roster spot because he's like a known defender. But
mm,
throughout summer league, he proved he was also a scorer, which is not something he was known through college. So I really do hope he fits in quite well. The only issue that I could see is consistency on the offensive end, but he's really the type of player the Celtics would be looking for. So that's a nice pickup. And then I got Marquise Noel from the Raptors, undrafted,
again, bro.
5'8",
Again.
5'8". Okay, I've seen his summer league highlights. Yeah, good scorer. Okay, but excellent passer.
Mm-hmm.
And
He's a
he's
great
only
passer.
yeah, he's only got a two-way contract, but I really hope that turns into a guaranteed one because man, the Raptors just need to tear everything down.
Rebuild. Yeah.
Yeah, they need to rebuild because
Yeah, that was
I really want him to get minutes. I need someone to be my next Isaiah Thomas.
I was about to say Isaiah Thomas 2.0.
yeah, bro. That was my honorable mention. Yeah, and he also gelled. I don't know how, but he gelled so well with that summer league team. Like he was throwing lobs and he was getting like very solid assists. And I'm like, it's been 2 games and you're already looking like you've been playing with this team for years. So like
Yeah.
that's
I
what I
mean,
like about that.
his IQ is pretty like up there. Even
He
like you could tell when he was in like playing in the March Madness, like
Mhm.
he's just making passes that you aren't even thinking he can see. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Like
Yeah, it's so
he doesn't
insane.
see the court as someone who's 5'8". He looks like Jokic almost. Like I've seen even some like wraparound passes behind defenders. Like
Mhm.
yeah, he's NBA ready. I think.
Yeah, I really hope he doesn't just disappear, because he is he's gonna be a fun player to watch if he ever gets NBA playing time. Like he's
Mhm.
gonna be one of those cult classics, like players. Like, oh, you like this guy, ball. Like So
Absolutely.
I really do hope the Raptors don't just let him fade into irrelevancy. Yeah, that was my pick as well. Mostly because yeah, I was watching the Raptors game and I was like, this I don't know how he went undrafted. I guess his height really just drags him down.
Yeah. Well, we gotta remember Isaiah Thomas was picked dead last in his draft. So
Yeah,
there is hope out there.
yeah. All right. I think that is it. Do you guys want to add anything else? Do you guys want to mention any second years you're kind of excited for? Because there was a lot of second years in the summer league this year. Granted, there was also a few who should have been playing that weren't, but there was also a lot that were getting their touches in.
I hope Jabari Smith gets more touches.
Mhm.
Like I think he might have been the leading scorer of summer league, and
Yeah, he
I'm
was.
glad he participated because like
Yeah.
he was showing out what I wished had happened earlier in the regular season, but at the same time the young guys were all fighting for their shots, and Jabari Smith, who's a forward, doesn't really get to handle the ball as much, so he really proved why he was a top pick last year in the summer league. So hopefully he can just keep that ball rolling in the regular season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jabari Smith. He covered every point.
I was gonna say both Keegan Murray and Benedict. Like
Mhm.
those were players who are getting very solid minutes in the NBA. Like were probably the few second years where I'd be like, you don't need to be in the summer league, but at the same time, they were there just dominating, looking looking like they were veterans of the game. Keegan Murray as well, has the issue of being on a really solid team that no one thought would be really solid. So we all thought he would get a lot more touches than he really did. And then same with Benedict. The Pacers lost what's his name? Oh, what's his
Uh,
name?
Chris Duarte.
Yeah, Duarte. So I feel like he's gonna get a lot more playing time as well. So
Yeah, I
those are
mean,
my second years.
you just named two of my favorite players from last year's draft, so I can't disagree with anything you said.
All right. That's probably where we're gonna end it. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. If you're looking for the audio version, we're on all podcast platforms, so make sure you check us out there. Give that good old 5 stars and leave a review. Let us know, who is your favorite prospect. Did we mention them at all? Did we accidentally shit on them? Who are you looking forward to the most? We are on all social media platforms at Spin the Rock. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you again next week. Should we talk about the Draymond Green thing?
What?
About how he's talking about Jordan Poole?
If you want, I don't think it's anything to talk about, but
Okay, we won't.